Hello everyone. Today I'm in the part of New York which is better known as Billionaires Row, and rather than a part, it's actually just one street, and that's 57th Street, which is this street right here. And we're about one block south of Central Park, which is directly up 5th Avenue. And 57th Street gets its name Billionaires Row basically because you just about have to be a billionaire to buy into one of the new condo developments which is being built, and I will get to those shortly. The first building I like to view is the Trump Tower, and that's this glass building right here. And this of course is owned by former president and billionaire Donald Trump. And this building was built in 1983 and is both a residential and office building. And this area has quite a bit of high-end retail shops, mostly of European in origin, and the Trump Tower is no exception. They have a Tiffany & Company inside the building, and looking across 5th Avenue there's a Louis Vuitton, and across the street there's a Van Cleef and Arpels, and directly behind me is a Bulgari shop, which I really don't go into these stores. This appears to be a jewelry store. And getting back to 57th Street, and I'm now looking west along 57th Street, and you can see several of the super tall buildings that are being built. And the first one is showing up as 111 57th Avenue, and that is the one with the crane on it that is currently under construction. And that, when completed, is supposed to be 1,428 feet tall. And that's not even the tallest building there. The one that's furthest in the back, and that's the Central Park Tower, that is also under construction. And when completed, that one's going to be 1,550 feet tall, and will have a total of 179 condominiums. And though the newer skyscrapers, they're very tall, they are rather narrow in size, so in terms of total square footage, they actually aren't that big. And take for example the Central Park Tower. That's going to be approximately 1.8 million square feet when finished, and that's roughly the same size as some of the older hotels, such as the Marriott in Times Square, roughly about the same size. And if you were to compare that to, say, most of the hotels somewhere like Las Vegas, it might be half, maybe half as big. And they're certainly super tall buildings, and they're super expensive, but not so big in terms of square footage. And the building across the street here on 57th, this concrete and glass tower, is Solo 9 West 57th, and this is a office building that was built in the 1970s. And continuing on 57th Street, and this lot right here to the left, this would actually be probably bigger than what most of those tall skyscrapers are being built on. And they're probably gonna do something with this in the near future because the land here is just so expensive. It looks like there's some more vacant land across the street as well. And there's also some vacant retail space to go with the vacant land. This looks to be mostly vacant. Here's a New York art gallery, and that looks to be closed as well. And the first restaurant on the left, this is a Nobu Restaurant. It's a high-end 5-star Japanese restaurant, and you can pretty much expect to spend about $75 to $100 per person there. And a cheaper option directly across the street, they have a Great American Health Bar, and a tuna sandwich there is about 15 bucks. And they also have a lot of vacant retail space next to them as well. And looking across the street on the left side of the Great American Health Bar there, it looks like there's another vacant lot. And it wouldn't surprise me if at some point these last 2 old buildings here get torn down and that gets redeveloped as well. And on the corner there of 57th and the next street is 6th Avenue. That is a office building there at 57 West 57th. And this building here is number 60, and it's showing up as a apartment building. And there's currently a 1-bedroom apartment for rent here for $5,500 per month. And even for this area, that does sound kind of expensive, and it's an older building too. And off to the left, this is the Rue 57, and it's listed as a French restaurant. And looking at their menu, a skirt steak with fries is $38. Not too bad depending on how big the steak is. And I'm now crossing 6th Avenue. And we're just about to the first super tall tower, which is right there. And across the street there's another restaurant that was called the Wayfarer Restaurant, and it's also listed as a 4-star business, but due to the coronavirus they've closed down, and on their website it says that they are permanently closed. And it looks like from the signs outside it was a steak and seafood restaurant. And looking across the street, here is the first super tall tower here. This is 111 West 57th, and that is just and this, when completed, will be over 1,400 feet tall. And though it's a very tall building, it's also a very narrow building. The lot that it's built on, that couldn't be more than 40, maybe 50 feet wide. So it's a very, very narrow building, and it really is almost incredible that they were able to put such a large building in such a narrow spot. And continuing walking west on 57th, the next business to the left is a Meridian Hotel, and it looks like it's right over here at this entrance. And the La Meridian, that's showing up as a 4-star hotel, and that is owned by the Hilton Corporation. And currently a room there costs about $180 per night. And off to the left, here's a Directors Guild Theater, and that does look to still be open. And a few more businesses across the street. There's a art and antique gallery, followed by a Salisbury Hotel. And it looks like this Salisbury Hotel is closed. That does look to be a rather old building. And from their website, they actually plan to redevelop this lot here and tear down the Salisbury Hotel. And they're supposed to build a new building there. And they're also doing quite a bit of construction on this side of the street as well. And off to the left, here's another vacant retail store. And this next building at 130, this is listed as a office building. And here is a grocery, the Morton Williams Fresh Marketplace, and they're basically similar in price to the Whole Foods that they have out here. And across the street, this is the next super tall building. This is 157 57th Street. And 157 was completed in 2014, and this building is quite a bit wider than the previous building that we just viewed. It's probably about at least 3 times as wide, and it's not as tall. This one is only about 1,005 feet tall, but this is also a condo building as well. And off to the left looks like more retail vacant space there. And the next business is a Russian tea room, and this is showing up as a 4-star Russian restaurant. And let's look at their menu here. A New York strip steak is $55, and it looks like the sides would be extra for that. And directly to the left is the Carnegie Hall Tower, and that is listed as an office building. And that is followed by the official Carnegie Hall, and this is the 3,600 seat concert hall, and this was built in 1891. And this area is just more condos. Across the street is a condo building, and that other building is also condos as well. And we're now approaching 7th Avenue. And the building directly across the street, that is 205 West 57th, and that is showing up as a apartment building. And a 1-bedroom apartment here rents for about $4,500 per month. And here's a subway station at 7th Avenue and 57th Street. And off to the left, this is a office building with a FedEx store on the ground floor. And off to the left is a Brooklyn diner. This is listed as a 4-star restaurant, and a burger and fries here will cost about $19. And directly across the street, this is one of the largest, or the largest, super tall towers. This is the Central Park Tower, and when completed, this building is going to be 1,550 feet tall, and it will have 179 condominiums inside the building, and it's still a rather narrow building. It couldn't be much wider than 50-60 feet. And it's kind of odd how they built that. One side of it really has no support. The right hand side, it's kind of freestanding, and then it's the central tower of it just kind of comes down right where this Nordstrom's building is, and that's also part of the tower too. And this is a 7-story Nordstrom building. And I'm just about to the end of the Billionaires Row, or the new developments, at least on 57th. The next street is Broadway, and basically this area just has more office and retail. Off to the left, here's a TD Ameritrade Bank. And it looks like across the street from this Nordstrom's, there's also another Nordstrom store. So if you like Nordstrom's, looks like New York is the place to go. And Central Park is just right up the street here, just a block up Broadway. And I'm now crossing 57th Street, and directly in front, this is the other Nordstrom store, which is across the street from that Nordstrom's. And I'm just going to take a quick walk over to Central Park, now walking north along Broadway. And directly ahead of me, that tall glass building there, that's the Trump International Hotel. And it does look pretty similar to the Trump Tower. And off to the right, more apartments. And still have the Nordstrom store here to the left. And we're almost to Central Park. Now crossing 58th Street. And this square building here, first I thought this was a telephone building, but this is actually an art museum. And this square area here, this is the Columbus Circle. In the center there, there's a statue of Christopher Columbus. And this building directly ahead is the Warner Center, and they have various high-end retail shops there as well. And they also have a Whole Foods. and looking towards the north, that would be the western edge of the 800+ acre Central Park. And that will conclude my tour of Billionaires Row. Thank you.